Everyone, hello again. We're coloring. It's community coloring night. Welcome Beltline to Broadway. We're doing this with our friends at Coloring Broadway, Andrea Gaylor. This is like I feel like it's our millionth time doing this, but I think it's actually our fourth time doing this. And we have our special guest, Brett Shuford, who is from the Broadway Husbands podcast, actor coach, life coach, wonderful friend to a lot of us. And he's become a mentor to me, which has been lovely. And prior to the pandemic, he was in Wicked. So that is, Brett is our special guest for tonight, and we're really excited to talk to him. So, Andrea, do you want to start the ball rolling with some Wicked questions?
Oh my goodness. Do I have Wicked questions? I mean, I have Wicked questions, but questions about Wicked. And if I was from like Maine, now they'd be Wicked questions, eh?
They're wicked.
Love you, Andrea.
This is what happens when I start work at 6:30 in the morning.
Loopy.
Just a little bit. So I'm gonna leave like theatrical questions to Lauren, and I will share that Brett and I connected over some mindfulness, leadership, mindset, personal development stuff a little while ago. I would say early last year, slightly pre-pandemic. And to focus a question on Wicked, what do you think are the biggest themes from Wicked? Like if you were to say Wicked is about these sorts of themes, what would you say?
I mean, I think mostly, of course, the overarching theme of loyalty. I mean, that's the word that came to my mind, is this idea that even the people you don't like, Glinda ends up actually being very loyal, even though you're at the beginning, you're not really sure. So I think there's that. I think there's living your truth, like really not allowing other people to like the way Elphaba doesn't allow the pressures of other people to taint her truth. She still continues to fight for that. And I think that's a huge part of it. And even someone like Fiyero ends up actually becoming more truthful, within that there too. So I think that's a really important theme. And then, then there's also the justice, like there's a social justice piece to it that I think is really important, especially right now. And, Elphaba's fight for the animals and for that, I think is a really great analogy for what we have to do for marginalized communities in our own society. So
yeah, I love that you brought that up. I will admit right now that Wicked is not my favorite. Don't tell anybody. No, but like I think we all have shows that resonate with us a lot, and then shows that I can appreciate from a talent, theatrical, creative perspective that just aren't necessarily the thing that resonates super, super well. But when I read the book, and I think that was because for me, I read the book before I saw the film, before I saw the show.
I tried to read that book.
I loved the book.
It is so intense.
It is that, and that was, I think, the challenge for me, having read the density of the book and how much it goes into. Like, I'm kind of spitballing off of your social activism. The book is all about the fight for the animals.
Mm-hmm.
And Glinda and Elphaba and Fiyero and their story kind of weave into it, but it's really so focused on the social justice aspect that when I think I saw the show, I won't say I was disappointed, but I was like, I just sat there going, but there's more.
Right.
So I love that you brought that up, and that it's a show that can speak to it in a way that people can start interacting with it. But what I heard you also say was that the show has a lot of themes around integrity, right?
Totally.
Not just integrity, loyalty, but also like integrity, self-integrity,
Mhm.
being yourself and owning that, and then also the challenges around that, right? You know, who doesn't want to be popular, right? I mean, I do. That's why we all do that social media thing. Come on, like, you know, and it's that weird like interaction back and forth between being popular and why do you want to be popular and what's going
Yeah.
on. So anyway, what's a big super general question? What's your favorite thing about Wicked? Like if you have one thing that you could say like you're just proudest of around it, or that lights you up about it.
Honestly, it is the female, watching those females
Ooh.
command the stage. Like my favorite thing was standing in the wings during No Good Deed and watching Elphaba sing that song. Because honestly, I don't think it's a great song. I'm gonna be real honest too. I don't think it's a great song. I remember seeing it originally with Idina, and I was like, "What is she talking about?" But I have such a different appreciation after seeing it, after watching her nightly sing that song and go through the emotions of it and go through the physical of it, and the fans come on and the fog. There's just like something really cool about that moment now that I just didn't appreciate before. And it's a woman showing her rage and her
Ooh.
frustration and her passion and vowing for justice. And it's just like that to me, you rarely get to see a woman express herself like that in a musical. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. It makes me want to go listen again since I can't go watch again right now. But it also made me think about the fact that oftentimes some things when we see them a first time don't resonate or don't stand out. And it's not until we go back to them that all of a sudden we're like, ooh, I saw that from a different place. And it might be because you're at a different place in your life. It might be because you're backstage watching it and so close to it. Like so many different factors can shift, but like the opportunity to do, like I always say, I'll try something once and usually twice, because if I try it once and I don't like it, maybe I need to try it one more time and see if I really don't like it. Right?
Yeah.
So, and really, I'm just a total goof.
I felt that way about Jagged Little Pill. I feel like I have to see it again because it kind of triggered me the first time. And I feel like if I saw it again, knowing what I'm in for, knowing where the storyline's going to go, I think I would have a much better appreciation for it.
Interesting.
You know what's a musical that, okay, so I did the musical Merrily We Roll Along in college. And that show, when I was 19, I had this like whole perspective of like, what are they so bitter about? Like later in life, I didn't really understand it. And then I saw it with, I think it was Lin-Manuel, and they did it at City Center. And I was 30, right? And or in my 30s. And I was like, it's a totally different perspective. And that's what I love about so many of these stories is you can go back and see them at a different point in your life and you just have a totally different perspective on it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Till the days go by.
So I know I have questions that I could keep chatting with Brett about, but they're not necessarily Wicked focused. If you all, like Hannah, Steph, Kelsey, Laura, what questions do you have for Brett? Because since Brett and I and Lauren know each other, we might not ask some of those questions that you would be curious about. So unless you just want to keep listening to us talk about personal development stuff and mindset.
I actually do have a question because somebody just posted about it, about the no-fly shows. So has everyone seen Wicked? I mean, I'm assuming if you're here, you've probably seen it at least once.
On Broadway once and in New Orleans. So I've seen it
I'm surprised I've only seen it twice.
No,
But, yeah.
I haven't, but my parents and my brother have, and they got Backstreet Shore.
Wow, that's
Cool.
nice.
I've only seen it
Yeah.
in touring companies, and it was one time, and then I ushered 2 times, so I saw it for free. Woo!
Ooh.
I need to see it once when Broadway opens again in the fall. I really miss
It's so worth it. I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
I know, that's what my mom kept telling me. But I'm like, no. But now I'm like, okay, I need to see it after after everybody told me it's so good.
It's-
That'll
and
be
I
your
think that
first one when shows come back. You'll be like, I'm going to see Wicked.
Got it.
Nothing else matters.
That was my
No, it's
Wicked
between
story.
that, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the Music Man.
Ooh.
It's between those.
That was my
It
Wicked
depends
story.
how much it cost because I don't know if they're going to change the price for when things open back up or what.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
question.
Yeah, especially because a lot of shows are not Broadway more, or they're not going to come back for now, but they're going to come back when they find a new theater. So
Yeah, there's lots of unknowns with that. But speaking of unknowns, let's
and
get
some
back to that
shows
no-fly
are
question.
still going to be in rehearsals or tech.
Mhm.
So Brett, tell me about the no-fly shows and what that means and what happens, because I think I actually saw one, because one of the times I did see Wicked, I remember my mom looking at me and I was like, oh mom, wait for it. And she's like, what exactly am I waiting for? Because nothing happens. So tell us what it is and what happens, and can you share with us any of the mechanics involved with what's happening behind that big cape?
I'm not sure that I'm allowed to like say too much about the magic, but sometimes the mechanism that makes Elphaba fly doesn't make Elphaba fly.
It just doesn't work that night.
Literally, and I didn't have the pleasure of experiencing this because it always worked when I was there, but when it does happen, literally I was just told we literally just squat and we all walk down stage and stay really low, and we just stay on the ground and just stay as low to the ground as possible and reach towards her, and just to give the force perspective. And she stays on the ground and she stands there and she tries to make herself really tall, and that's the option if the mechanism doesn't work.
Live theater, nothing like it, right?
But I've been in shows like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was my first Broadway show, and the car would malfunction all the time. And there were definitely times where the car literally stops in the middle of the finale, stopped moving, and we would just look at the conductor and they would just keep repeating the chorus until they could restart the computer and get the car to move again. And we were just like, oh, you pretty chitty bang bang, and then just start over, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you, and just keep singing.
I saw that show, and they told us if the car isn't working, there's no show. Like, all the ticket holders knew this up front, evidently. So my mother was very concerned going into it. Everything was fine. But I remember mom going, for what I paid for these tickets, that freaking car better work.
It better work.
Like,
well, for what they paid for the car, it was like a $2 million
yeah,
piece of machinery. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Here's my Chitty poster here.
Yeah, I love all of the posters.
Sorry, we have matching posters. That's what I'm trying to show.
Yeah, my husband was in that show. And then
On Broadway or the touring show?
the Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are probably in my Playbill collection somewhere back there from Chitty Bang.
Maybe.
Now I have to look it up because that's super.
Yeah.
Brett,
She's like, now I'm going to go do that.
how long were you in Wicked?
I literally started in November of 2019.
Oh my gosh.
So I did it for a little over 4 months.
Anything that surprised you about the show? I mean, you talked about the no good deed moment, but what about the show surprised you once you were in it versus just seeing it from the audience?
I don't think I appreciated how complex the staging is. It's very complex. What I learned, especially because I was swinging, I had to learn the Wizard, Dr. Dillamond, so I covered them, and then I had to learn 8 ensemble tracks. So, and it's not like 42nd Street, where when you do 42nd Street, everyone's doing the same steps. They're just on a different spot on the stage. In Wicked, no one does the same thing twice. Everyone's doing something different. If you watch Dancing Through Life, there's a couple popping up over here and there's people doing this thing over here. Nothing repeats. And so learning the show was really, really stressful. And I was the first swing that they'd ever hired new to the show that had not done the tour. So a lot of times for Broadway, they bring people in from the tour, and so they already kind of know the show. I had seen the show twice. Once with Idina, like the original, like final previews, and then once I brought my husband once. So that's and I knew the cast recording. Like, I don't know Wicked. So it was a lot of pressure.
So Elizabeth has asked, how can you remember all of that? And I think that's like the bigger swing question, because I'm always astounded, as somebody who does dance, that you have to not only memorize your track, but you have to memorize a whole bunch of tracks and be able to switch in a moment. Like, how does your brain wrap itself around that?
Well, number one, you don't, it's not like we try to. The number one rule that you will learn as an understudy or a swing, and I've understudied a lot, is one track at a time. Just like it's a life lesson, right? One day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 hour at a time. And with learning a track or learning a show, you just got to kind of focus on one track at a time. And I don't think a lot of people even realize how much you have to do that. That for me, the most successful I've been was when I went, okay, I know that I'm going to go on this date, so I'm going to focus in this track, so I'm going to focus on that track. And then the principal parts, if you understudy a principal, that always takes priority, because if a principal goes down, you need to be able to just go on. So that kind of is how I set it up. And then I just focus on getting one track down. I go on that track, and then I can focus on the next. And then the other thing is you just keep really good notes, and you can literally, like, before I go on on a number, I will look at my notes and make sure I review where I stand and what I need to do, put it away, go on stage, do the number, and then come back and look at the next number so that I can be prepared for the next scene.
Wow.
Did you have a favorite track in Wicked?
I really, really, really loved playing the Wizard.
Okay.
I loved it. I couldn't believe how much, like, I had no appreciation for that character, because he's the villain. He's kind of like the villain, right? So, but I loved singing Wonderful and then doing that number. And
I was going to say, he has a moment. That's a moment in that show for him.
Also, like, I'm going to show you the photo of me in costume, because I loved that costume, and let me see if I can find it. Keep talking, but I'm going to look for it.
Go for it, Lauren.
I always wanted to go on that backstage tour, like, once a Saturday or once a month on a Saturday, they used to have the backstage tour.
It's
the
super
one
fun.
show. I know. I
went.
I was always there, like, either the Saturday before or the Saturday after. I was never there on the Saturday. So maybe next time I go to New York, when theaters are open and they're allowing that kind of craziness, I can get backstage.
Well, as you're finding it, I want to go back to the one track at a time reference
Okay.
because I just think that's such a powerful thing. Are you ready? We
Yeah.
can.
So
Okay.
keep talking. I'm still looking.
Okay. No, I just thought like as somebody who struggles navigating multiple different things throughout my day, even at work with different projects, with email and other things coming in, it's such a grounding thing to hear you say is like, I can do all of these things, but I can't do them all if I try and do them all at once.
100%. It's
So-
I think that so many people, especially in the creative and arts, we all get really stuck because we like, well, it looks like all these people are doing it so successfully. Most of those people, A, have help. They have other people supporting them and doing it. And B, they got there. Like you're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle, right?
Mhm.
They got there by taking one thing at a time.
Well, and you're also comparing it to their Instagram and their Facebook, and you don't get to see them doing laundry and all the dishes piled up in the sink and, like the stuff that is real that everybody goes through that people don't think about when they're scrolling
It's
on
true.
the book of faces.
It's really true.
I see Hannah giggling. She's like, yeah, that stuff.
The Book of Faces.
Yeah, because I'm old. You can call it the Google, the Book of Faces.
I'm still looking, so keep talking.
All right, I will keep vamping.
I found you in my playbill
What show?
Ooh,
for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh my god.
ooh, show.
I don't know if it'll show up on my camera, but that's you right there.
Aw.
Oh, it's young Brett.
It's me, no mustache.
When it was the Hilton Theater. It's not the Hilton anymore.
It's not, no. It doesn't look anything like that anymore either.
No, I've been in it since. I think that's the theater with the most name changes.
Well, it probably is. I mean,
That would be a great trivia question.
I think it might be because between that to, I want to say the last show I saw there, assuming that I'm getting it right, was On the Town was there.
yeah.
And it was something else entirely by the time On the Town was up.
Yeah, my husband was in On the Town. There's that
Yep.
post.
Probably
I was like,
saw
where's
them
And then he left On the Town to do An American in Paris.
A lot of people did that.
And I moved into that theater with Paramore, Cirque du Soleil's show.
I was so mad. I almost I just missed it in my.
Then you know
In my
Tally
travels.
Sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Teaching World is very small. So he is best friends with one of the ESOL teachers that I work with.
Oh my gosh, yes. I
So
love
that is my very small.
He's awesome.
Okay, that's amazing. Sorry, that just like my face just lit up when you said that. I was like, oh, what? Okay, anyway, sorry. Little fangirl moment there.
What, Tally? Wait, sorry.
Yeah,
Over Tally. Yeah, I love Tally.
yeah.
But yeah, that theater has changed names, I think, with every show that's gone into it, just about.
Yeah, I think the lyric, hopefully, because it's actually returned to its part of its original name. So maybe the lyric is the end. It'll just stay the lyric.
Maybe.
This makes me want to reach out to Tim Dolan and find out if that's one of his trivia questions because he has all the Broadway trivia.
You should. And you know who would know is Michael Riedel because they're all listed in all of his books. And I do not personally like supporting him, but he did a good job on his Broadway history. He can be mean. I do not like it when people are mean, but his facts are correct. And I'm very appreciative of his ability to be a really good historian.
Well, I've heard that facts or feelings are not facts and facts are not feelings. So,
Right.
we'll stick with the facts. Just the facts, ma'am.
He did really great historian work on those two books because I did borrow them from the library.
So what other Wicked or even Broadway questions do you guys have for Brett?
Brett, can you talk a little bit about the fandom? I'm always amazed at fandom only because when I was a kid, You went to the theater. If you were lucky enough to go to the theater, we used to go to New York like once a year because my grandparents lived in New Jersey. We would go to the theater and that was it. You went home. You didn't stand by the stage door back then. I'm old. No one knew where the stage door was. The whole signing and the meet and greets and the whole craziness at the stage door didn't exist. And Wicked is just one of those shows that the fandom is so loyal and over the moon about this show. So can you talk a little bit about the fandom and coming out that stage door every night, and what that's like?
Sure. I mean, Wicked, I feel like has a different level of fandom than anything I've ever done because it's run for so long, partly, I think. You know, I mean, when I did The Little Mermaid, that definitely had its own sort of fandom that was built in from the film. But Wicked as a musical, the people who are fans of that show have been fans and devotees for life. What I find fascinating, I didn't even realize it was going to be like this, is that people like the amount of bootlegs, the amount of like people know their Elphabas and their Glendas and they see them. And it's like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, you know, they compare the run to who was playing Elphaba and who was, it's really an interesting group of people. But I was the kind of kid going to the theater really young who always went to the stage door. And no matter who was with me, whether it was my dad or my mom, they had to go with me to the stage door, even if they didn't want to. And I always met the cast and I always, you know, wanted them to sign my playbills. And so no matter what show I'm in, I always feel like I'm obligated to do that because it meant so much to me as a kid. And so I love going out that stage door and seeing these Wicked fans. You know, I was not there long enough, I think, for them. You know, I think if I got to play the wizard, somebody out there might get a bootleg of it. But I really, really loved getting to be a part of telling that story, because it really is. There's been shows I've done in my career where I walk out and I'm a little bit like, yeah, I feel a little bit apologetic to people, like, sorry, like, I know it wasn't that great. Wicked, I walk out the stage door and I feel so proud to have been a part of it because it's just such a beautiful story and it's so well done, so well produced and created.
Thanks for talking about the stage door, because that's often a question I have as a non-performer, is what it's like as a performer to do stage door. What not like what should somebody at the stage door do, but like what are the things that resonate with you the most, or that like feel good, or like what type of interactions do you like to have with the fans at the stage door?
Oh, I mean, it really just depends. I try not to be assume too much, right? So as long as I have a Sharpie and I sign, and if somebody wants to tell me anything, I'm open to it. But most of the time, I'm just signing it because there's going to be some little boy there who is just like me, who really wants to know that their dream can come true. And so I just want to be there to remind them that, yeah, it can happen. It happened to me.
All right. I love you even more now.
Me too. I feel like, and I also feel like, you know, I hope some incarnation of stage doors come back when theater comes back, because I think my kids love cats. They're crazy for cats.
Not judging at all.
I don't judge. I mean, we've seen cats a lot in my house. And so my son wanted to go to New York before he graduated to see the revival of Cats. The guy who was playing Rum Tum Tugger, my son was obsessed with Tyler Haynes. And so we stand by the stage door with these children, and all I'm hoping for is I hope this cast comes out and is nice to these kids, because there were so many kids at the stage door, and I was like, I hope they don't come out and they're just like, we gotta go, like we gotta, like, here's, I'm gonna sign your program, we're out. And Tyler especially, I was like, oh my gosh, I if he comes out, I just hope they all want to meet him, and I just hope he gives them the time of day. And that was the nicest, most gracious cast. They were everything to those kids. They spent so much time with each kid on the line and talking to them, not just my kids, but all the way down the line. And it was so meaningful. So I hope that comes back again, because I saw how much it meant to my kids. So I hope, I don't know.
Okay, I couldn't find the original
Right.
the original, like, but I found it on my Instagram. Okay, here. So here's a link. You can see that's me as the wizard in my makeup and kind of up close. And then I have a photo.
Oh yeah.
I loved that look. And then I have a photo of me in the full costume too, but I gotta find that. I loved getting to play that part and getting to because he actually gets to sing the song to Elphaba in Act 2, and just a great moment.
That show has gorgeous costumes, and I feel like they're not talked about enough. My mother would not stop talking about, and still won't, the beautiful green woman's hat in One Short Day. It was her favorite costume piece. I heard about it for...
Yeah. I know
like
every single costume is...
All of them are
stunning.
gorgeous.
Here's my, like, see, here's my one... This was my Swing Oz costume, and the detail... How do I share this?
I was going to say, can you share your screen, Brett? If I make you a co-host, you can share it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can enable him to share.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay, here. Right. So like that was just my Oz costume.
That's gorgeous.
As
That's
a
dapper.
Right. So imagine like all these other people out there, those sleeves alone.
Just beautiful.
Right. So
And
I mean
the boots.
And
yeah,
the hat.
the boots, those are probably
All
like
of it.
yeah. There's some really expensive boots, I think. And then I feel like I had more, but I can't. Oh, this is just like one other wicked photo I took backstage. But they're super strict about taking photos there. This was me as one of the Aussian officials. But they're super strict about photos backstage. Like you're not allowed to, you have to get approval. You have to make sure you send it to the marketing team and they have to approve. And so the photos you see, I got approval.
Wow.
Yeah. Very strict.
That's super strict.
Yeah.
There's a lot of once we are not live on Facebook, the umbrella picture that I posted the other day, there were a lot of hoops that had to be jumped through, because the fact that I had that umbrella in my hand that day was not...
Was a no-no?
It wasn't a no-no. They handed it to me. They took a picture of me with it. But then as I was leaving, I said to, I was in William I. Belong's studio, and I said to William's assistant, I'm kind of feeling like I shouldn't have had that umbrella in my hand. He's like, probably not. Let's call Warner Brothers on this one. And so it was many months before I could share that picture. And I still don't say the show, but if you've seen the show, you probably know. But that umbrella is a work of art. And it's not.
Wow. Well, I think that actually begs another question. It's like, what do the fans not know about like the legalities of stuff like that? Like of picture taking, of sharing, of like people that get to come backstage, what they can and can't touch, or like there's a lot that the average fan or the average Wicked fan might have no idea, like the hoops that you have to jump through.
Sure. Well, I mean, so much of the backstage stuff is protected by unions. So if props and set pieces and costumes, you're not really supposed to touch unless you're a member of the union and you have approval to do that, because if something breaks, it falls on their shoulders, right? If something doesn't work, responsible. So, and you don't want something to break and then it's because you touched it on a tour. But also certain shows, I think Disney being one of them in my experience, but even when Steve was in Hello Dolly, the producers want to protect the experience for the audience because they don't want to give away secrets or reveal things backstage from content that they've made, because they want people to buy tickets and come see the show and experience it that way. And out of context, some of these things may not look as good as they do on stage and lights. That. So, it's definitely, I think, a bigger challenge for producers now to protect their properties than it was when I started performing, because social media, and so they have to set really strict guidelines so they can protect it.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So were you in Hello Dolly? Were you in this revival, Brett?
Even was.
I love that show so much. That was one of my favorite revivals.
Yeah.
With Bette Midler.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with Bernadette, or was he still there?
He left when Bernadette came in.
Oh, so that means I didn't get to see him.
No.
I got to see Bernadette's, like the first couple of shows that she did. I saw one of those, and then I saw it again towards the end of her run. I have to tell you, it was that moment where you were talking about, you see it from different sides, but I got to see the progression of her new in the role, where she was doing Bernadette and she was amazing, but you got to watch people who would like kind of come up behind her and move her into the place that she was supposed to be. And she, so she was like la la la, and then it just said, and then at the end she had completely embodied it. Like, to watch the progression of where it started and her brilliance at who she is and what she was able to do new into the role versus how you get to just embody it at the end, and it just lives and breathes out of you. So that was pretty cool.
I saw her. Steve and I went and saw Bernadette, but I saw, of course, Donna Murphy and Bette. I saw Bette twice and I saw Donna once, and then I saw Bernadette.
That was wonderful. It was so delightful. And I did, I don't know, did any of you guys see the tour? I saw Betty Buckley on tour, and she was really magical as well. It was wonderful seeing her.
You just tried to bring it back to Cats, didn't you?
No, I was a huge Eight Is Enough. I was a huge Eight Is Enough fan.
I watched those all on network TV on the day at the time. There was no record, there was no Hulu.
Unless you had a freaking VCR, and then that was a total pain to figure out and make work.
Recording on VCRs. Oh my goodness. I didn't really have to deal with it. My parents did, but the amount of times things got taped over.
I would see Wicked again, but I really would be a happy girl if I never had to see Cats again. Like, I'm done with Cats.
You've hit your cat threshold.
Yeah,
The
the movie, that was it for me. That was like, okay, I am done. Please.
It was the last thing we ever saw in movie theaters before the pandemic hit.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay. It was an experience. We really enjoyed. No, like my whole family, we were like yelling things at the screen. We were like, singing along. It was an experience.
Yeah.
Oh, so Brett, we want Stephen to have dinner tonight. Does anybody have any last final questions for Brett before we let him go? And
We let you go because we've tethered you here.
Thank you. I want to say I can't wait for theater to be back and we can all be there together. Until then, this is such a great experience getting to color with you all. So thank you for having me.
I think we kept you a little busy, so you didn't really get to color, but you know.
I colored a little bit. I got the window.
Yeah, I was like, I've seen some of Brett's coloring for his the mindset reset stuff and I've seen you color all of it. Yeah. So awesome. I mean, and if you guys want, you can do the actor mindset reset.
What if you are not an actor?
It's great for anyone who wants to work on their mindset.
I was like, mindset reset. I mean, it might be tending towards actors for this one, but I think it works for everyone. So, Brett, do you want to put the link for that in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Can you grab that?
It's so easy. It's just
because I will shamelessly plug your stuff all over the place. And while he's getting that, he can also think about telling everybody what else he does, because he does not just work on Wicked. He does a whole myriad of other things that y'all need to know about.
A whole lot of other things.
Well, the thing I miss performing a lot.
They're still in my brain.
Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
There you go. Oh, there we go. It's working. I miss performing a lot. I will say that there are moments where I just spontaneously start singing just because my vocal cords want to move throughout the day. But I have a business as a Broadway life coach, so I'm a certified life coach, and I help consult and mentor creatives. Mostly, it's interesting. It was always kind of helping Broadway-centric people, but over the course of the pandemic, I've really been helping a lot of business and creative entrepreneurs, people who want to get their content out into the world and want a little more confidence doing that. So I love doing that because I have built a brand with my husband called Broadway Husbands. We have about 57,000 followers now on Instagram, which is crazy. And we have a blog. If we have a blog and a podcast, and we share about our lives as making our living in the arts and starting a growing family. That's a big goal for us at this time. And then I also have Broadway Life Apparel, which is my nerdy fan and theater professional merchandise. So come up with witty different slogans for shirts, and we release those every month, and it's a super fun way to keep that theater nerd in me alive.
And I wore my Lulu's Pies shirt to my dance class on.
Did you really? Oh, good. I like that one.
Yep.
I'm a fan too.
Yeah.
I really like your work.
Thanks. We have a really cute one coming out. We have a new Pride one coming out. And then oh gosh, I'm going to show you a preview, but I don't think I have it. And it says, should I tell you, or should we just wait? You should just wait. You should follow. It'll be released. But there's that, and then we just came up with one. It's a Wicked themed one, actually. And so you have to wait and see. I'll release it. It'll come out May 1st. So you can see.
So very, very soon.
Very soon.
Very, very soon.
Yeah. So that's. I think that's everything I do. Did I miss anything?
I think you covered all of the things. I mean, if you were like one of those Venn diagrams, you would have how many circles that are like intersecting? Lots of them. So
yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we want you to eat. What's on the plate for tonight?
I don't know. He's cooking something. I can hear it in the kitchen. I think it might be pasta.
Yay, pasta.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me. So much love to all of you. Come say hi on Instagram. And
yep. Yeah. Go follow Brett at Broadway Husbands, Broadway
Life Apparel.
Broadway Life Apparel, and Broadway Husbands, Brett Shuford, and Broadway Life Apparel. All of the things.
All of the things.
Going to do that right now.
Okay. Can't wait to talk to you guys soon. All right. Be
Thanks,
safe.
Brett.
Thank you,
Bye.
Brett.